Danna is expired.
That's not what we're going to call this podcast.
That is what we're going to call this podcast.
But we did just find multiple things in my refrigerator that are expired.
Guacamole from September. But it hadn't been opened.
Right. So I tasted it and it tasted okay.
It was September 18th.
It's fine. And then the salsa, I didn't want to tell you, but it expired last week. But we just opened it not too long
That's
ago.
okay. I served meat that was tougher than nails.
It was rough, but it's
tonight's fajitas were a real flop.
And the funny thing is Kristin has been like for 2 weeks now, or at least a week, saying, we have this steak. We have to eat it. We're going to make fajitas. So we were so excited to eat these fajitas tonight.
It was the skirt steak, which is normally a very tough piece of meat. But I've been told by multiple people that, oh my gosh, I never said, hey, at the beginning of the podcast. I had to get that in.
Oh,
that's tradition.
Are you mad that you didn't do that yet?
Not really. But so I've been told by people, use it as fajita meat, cook it on the Blackstone, marinate it for a day. It's delish. So the flavor was good.
The flavor was excellent.
It was so tough, and we cut it the correct way.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so fajitas were not the right thing to eat this with because it you would take a bite and you would take the whole piece of meat.
Nothing is right to eat this with.
So that's what I'm asking. Do you think there's anything we could have done
No,
with that?
I don't think this was good.
My back hurts.
I don't like the skirt steak. I wouldn't get it again. So if you have any recommends about skirt steak, let me know.
Yeah, like a good recipe for it. My back is really bothering me. Woo!
Your house
It's
is
a
full
stink
of
bugs. So many stink bugs. My back is killing me, and I don't know why. There is a very aggressive stink bug.
Every podcast we have a stink bug here.
So I just read an article that it's
the time of year.
the season, right? And so stink bugs. Those, what are they? The Japanese beetles that look like ladybugs, but they're fake ladybugs. That's the other one. And then there's one other one that is like a beetle. Like it's like a little reddish black beetle, and they're all over. And this is actually funny that I just said I read an article because I actually did read an article. And most of the time when I say I read an article, I saw a TikTok. But this time I actually did read an article. So I want you all to know I read. So I'm in a good mood.
You are? Why?
Season is like nearing an end. And I came home today and I cleaned my house and I felt like
That's
I could
nice.
breathe.
Oh, good for you.
I have worked every day, all day.
I have
for
not
a lot
felt
of
like
days.
I could breathe yet.
I know. We'll get there. We'll get you there. But today was my first day. I
Good
came
for you.
home,
That's nice.
I cleaned my bathrooms. I was going to do laundry, but our dryer just took a poop.
Yeah, your husband took it apart.
We have clothes hanging in there right now.
But he
because,
fixed it.
Well, we're waiting for the part.
Yeah, he's going to fix it.
So he said it sounded like a shoe was in there. And it was not a shoe. It was the wheel had literally of the drum, had melted, come off, and is rolling around in there. So, yeah. But I feel like it's almost the end. And I'm going to try and leave early tomorrow and Thursday. Well, if you're listening to this today and tomorrow, because I am going to take my 9-year-old trick-or-treating if it kills me.
You're going to get it done.
I'm going to get it done. Tomorrow there is a thing at the high school that I am dying to take him to. I never take him to fun Halloween stuff. He has been to multiple already this year by my sister-in-law, by his friend's mom. But his mom has taken him to nothing. So I am really trying to take him tomorrow.
You know, I don't think I've ever taken my kids to see Santa Claus myself.
Really?
Not even as little kids, because of the Christmas tree farm, I could never go.
Yeah, so it's a very
So my
similar
sister-in-law
situation.
would always take them. Yeah. So I've never taken my kids. So I'm going to make them go to this year. They're going to have to go see Santa Claus with their mother for the first time.
We have always done at Lake Farm Parks, but I did ask Joey, I said, do you want to come the day after Thanksgiving to Patterson's we're going to have Santa there. Santa's going to come there. And now he does think that this is probably one of Santa's helpers, but that's okay. He's very excited.
He's a very good Santa's helper.
Yes. And so he will be there. So he's going to come in the morning.
Oh, good. So he has to come before my sister.
He's going to come early in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes. And he's going to, he already started his list. It's October 29th. We just got an order. The kid started his list.
Good.
So yeah, he's ready to go.
Well, I have a couple birthdays to shout out. So yesterday was my grandma's birthday. My grandma turned 93 years old. And if you know me, you're not old until you're 90, because then you've earned the right to be called old. And everybody should do everything and whatever you want them to do for you. So that's exciting.
What other birthday do you want to talk
And
about?
my brother turns a birthday tomorrow. tomorrow.
That's not really
so
what
Wednesday
I'm
when you're
referring
listening to
to
this. And I had a birthday too.
That's what I'm referring to.
I had a birthday.
So everyone can wish Kristin, well, it's happy belated now. And I am a terrible friend because I should have last week said that if you see her, you should wish her happy birthday. So I'm not a good friend because I forgot. Well,
my
last week I
sister that
forgot.
doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
So honestly, like
Her
the day
birthday
was
was
so
Saturday.
busy that I didn't even realize. So if you didn't call me on my birthday and you're feeling bad about it, I'm sure
Don't.
there's a few of you.
But you guys, we had the best
Don't
day.
feel bad about it because I didn't even know.
What we did though.
So we woke up at 5. Well,
4.
No.
We woke up at 4.
Left the market by 5:10.
So we escaped the market for a whole day.
It was risky.
We ended up being back there late at night, but we escaped on a weekend in fall, which is insane.
So we went down to the Buckeyes game, and my in-laws have a little tailgate spot. We used their tickets, and we had a great time. I had some sheep friends there, Danna, some friends from high school, just some friends from General who stopped by.
So does your one friend Jen listen to us or no?
She does occasionally.
So,
I don't know if she's like a
Jen,
dedicated weekly listener.
If you're listening, I'm going to tell you guys a funny story. So Kristin and I drove down and we met Jen at an exit about 45 minutes from here. Jen and her daughter Josie, we met them, and Kristin is friends with them through sheep. And so we pick her up. And we're driving down to Columbus, and my husband must have woken up in this time period. And he texts and he says, "How's it going?" And I said, "Exactly as I expected. Multitude of sheep talk." You guys, the entire day was all sheep people. They all talked about sheep all day long. All day long. What show are you doing next? Does your sheep do this? What do you feed your sheep? When are you feeding your sheep this? Tell me about, do you give them this? And I'm sitting there like, I bought my dog's food at Costco. Like,
you had fun with them.
I had so much fun. I'm not ever saying I didn't have fun.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear here. I did not say I didn't have
You
fun.
don't even feel excluded because you're used to this now.
No, there was only one point where I was like, oh my God, they're all talking about sheep. I literally have nothing to contribute to this conversation. And the only person that must have noticed this, that I was like kind of stepped back a little.
Is this when you were hiding in the truck?
No, that was another time.
Oh, okay.
But I was hiding with your friends.
I know. It's funny.
I didn't realize we were going to talk about that. So no, that was something else. No, so a friend of Kristin's who met us, her girlfriend, Kathy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so her husband, Scott, if I'm remembering everyone's names correctly.
That's Scott. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he came up to me. So let me preface this with telling you that Kristin was kind of giving me a little bit of a play-by-play on each friend. Like, this lady, for example, Kathy had a terrible accident last 2 years ago and survived, and seriously, like, amazing story.
An 800-pound bale of hay fell on her.
Yes.
And her daughter Ellen, who I met, who's in dental school, somehow, by the grace of God, lifted the bale off of her mother.
So, like, she's giving me like a play-by-play on each person. Like, and I want to be very clear, if any of you are listening, I promise you nothing bad. Like, she had genuinely had nothing bad to say about anyone. So, but she was right on the mark, like personality-wise and everything. So it was great because, in fact, I even said to her the night before, don't tell me anything. I wanted to like form my own opinions and then we can talk about them on the way home. But she didn't let me do that because she already gave me that.
I thought it'd help in your conversations.
It did. And so anyways, so Kathy's husband, Scott, so I said to Kristin, I said, well, what did you say about me? Mm-hmm. Like,
I don't even remember what I told you.
How did you describe me? And she's like, I don't know, you're fine. Like, whatever. Like, didn't really elaborate. So I was like, okay, whatever. Like, she was probably like, oh, she's a little rough around the edges. She's a
girl from the city.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she doesn't know anything about farming, this, that, and the other. Which, like, to be very clear, not only do I not know about farming, I'm not trying to know about farming. Like, I'm very comfortable.
That's not true. You are trying to learn about farming. You are.
I work for a farm, so I think that I have to. And I don't mind that. I want to be very clear. I don't mind that I'm learning about it, but I have learned over the years. And I live in what is ish a rural community compared to comparative to where I grew up. It is a rural community. It is not really rural compared to other areas. But so I've learned about it. But anyways, I was curious how she described me and I didn't really get an answer out of her. So anyways, so I'm kind of like stepped back a little because I'm like, I legit have nothing to talk to these people about. They are talking about sheep and all the sheep shows and what they feed their sheep. And I am.
Did we really talk about what we fed our sheep? That's pretty boring.
It was. You said
boring.
You're not boring at all. But regardless, he comes up to me and he says, what are you doing? And I was like, nothing. What are you doing? And like, I had not spoken to this gentleman at all. So I was like, nothing. What are you doing? Like, kind of annoyed. And he was like, she told me you're the fun one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. So now he spoke my language. So then I felt like I had to prove that I was the fun one.
Which you did.
Which I did. I had a very fun time, but I definitely probably drank a little too much to the point that when we got to the game, like we went in at the beginning of the game, and for the entire first quarter, I questioned every life decision I had made for the last like 3 hours because I was not in a good mental state, I would say. I had had a few too many mimosas, and while our tailgate was incredibly fun, I was regretting every bit of it during that moment. And I was at one point like, well, I had my sunglasses on because the weather was absolutely drop dead gorgeous. And I was
so
like,
nice.
I was like, if I close my eyes, will anyone notice? Like, it was so bad. I was not good. By the second half, I was rocking that game. I was back. I was good to go. But by the end of the game, we're back at the tailgate, and I'm like a little sleepy now. Like, I got drunk. I got sober. Now I'm ready to go home. And this guy's like, thought you were the fun one. And I'm like, I don't handle peer pressure well. Like, so I was like, all right, let's do a shot.
Wait, after the game you did?
Yeah. And then we went to that bar and I had another drink and I had no intent on having another drink.
I don't drink beer. I never have, don't like it. I shouldn't say never. Like when I'm baling hay and it's 90 degrees and
that
you're
is
hot.
genuinely, and you remember I'm gluten-free. That's genuinely the only time I miss having a beer. Is like on a super hot day, I would kill for
That's
like an
probably the
ice-cold
only
Coors Light.
time I could stomach drinking
I'm with you.
a
I'm not a
beer.
beer drinker.
Ugh.
Why?
Ugh, I don't know. I just don't like it. So anyways, so Scott buys a beer. First of all, I'm driving home. Like I'm in the truck.
Yeah, to be clear, we were driving home that day. So
I'm trying to pretend like I'm drinking it so I could just pass it off. But he was watching me, right? And I definitely do not cave to peer pressure. So like the more you pressure me, the worse it's going to be. I'm just not going to do it. We handle peer pressure very differently.
Clearly why our high school careers were very different.
So anyway, I'm like, I'm just going to pretend to take a drink and then I'm going to slide it off.
How'd that go?
I pretended to take a drink and spill it down my front. And then I passed it off, but I'm like, well, this didn't so much work for me.
I mean, literally poured it down her face.
It was great.
Like,
so not only did I not drink, I actually probably smelled like I had been
so
drinking.
if we were to get, on the off chance we were to get pulled over from the girl that did not drink,
I'd be like,
reeked
give me
alcohol.
all the breathalyzers.
Right, exactly.
Give me all the breathalyzers.
Well, you definitely would have passed them. You would have been very clear.
It would have been good.
Fine.
I would have been like, see?
I would have absolutely been okay.
Anyways, so that was kind of funny.
It was funny, but it was a great day. It was a really fun day.
It was a beautiful day.
And,
we had good food. Let's talk about these figs that Jen made.
I have not stopped hearing about it.
Stuffed with goat cheese.
They were good.
With a walnut on top. Supposed to be drizzled with honey, but she didn't because, it had to transport. It was so delicious. I'm still thinking about it. In fact, Costco had dates.
Needless to say, the store-bought Costco spinach dip that I brought.
It was good.
Definitely did not hit the mark.
Did you throw that all away?
Yeah, because it had been sitting out.
Oh, yeah, true. Our food was so good.
We had quite a spread for four of us.
Yeah, which were actually, I think it was more like 15.
By the time it was all said and done,
we had
for
lots of
literally
nice
the
crowd.
first 3 hours.
We made friends with people who had a porta-john. We didn't even have to pay. And
it was great. I was willing to pay.
Well, we were going to offer, but then they're like, Teresa just says you can use it. So we're like, we're with Teresa. So
but we don't know. We don't
even know who Teresa was.
That's
but
fine.
That worked out well. So it was a good time. Fun was had by all.
It was.
And then we came back and we helped our friends stock.
Yes.
The market. And it was a nice day.
Yeah.
And tomorrow we're getting up at, you have to get up at 5 apparently. I was told 5:30. So
I was told 5.
They like me better. We have to pack up some donuts tomorrow.
So tomorrow and Thursday, Halloween, are big bakery days for us because a lot of people do fun donuts for groups and things like that and pies and all kinds of good stuff. So
it always started out that this group, they wanted to give pies to their employees for Thanksgiving and we were unable to accommodate that. So they switched it to Halloween, which is nice.
Which I think is awesome. I think it's just super fun. And we do, some for Thanksgiving, but this is just a really fun one that we do. But we will be up early tomorrow. So I'll be going to bed as soon as we are done here because I can't stay
as soon as
up.
she's done picking the nail polish off her fingernails.
What happened. So I don't know if you can see. Can you see? So this nail, my thumbnail, it just like lifted a little bit ago. And so now it came off. So I got to get them all off now. So before I go to bed tonight.
She has a big hunk.
It's literally my whole nail right there.
A polish, like right here.
My entire nail. So I have a huge cut on my other finger, you guys, because yesterday in the cooler at work, I did everything that you're not supposed to do. Like I stepped onto a pallet, which you really shouldn't do, to get to something, but there was like, it was blocked, whatever. So I tried to step over it. I kind of tripped a little bit. And in order to catch myself, I decided to grab onto this large box, like this metal box that we have. So the box is on wheels. So when you push on something with wheels to grab onto it, you can imagine how that goes. And I'm actually really fortunate that I only sliced my finger open and did not actually go flying through the cooler on the cement floor. I could have hurt myself. So needless to say, I cut my finger open, but that's fine.
Well, Bill and I early voted today, so that's exciting. Normally we're vote on the day people, which we would have been, but we were at very close to the Board of Elections today because I have to tell you, I picked sweet corn on October 29th.
Which I cannot believe how late it is, and that was so good just now.
It was so good. So friends of ours, Bob Sage, they have another fruit farm kind of close by on the other side of the county, and they have delicious sweet corn. They raise sweet corn. We sell their sweet corn when they have excess.
So good.
And so I said, hey, Bob, do you happen to have any sweet corn? And he said, what time is it? And I said, 12:31. This is cute. He goes home every day for lunch, and his wife fixes him a hot lunch every day.
Why am I not surprised? Because that's kind of what happens here, too.
No, I don't. He doesn't come home.
You fix him a lunch all the time.
I mean, I do, but he doesn't like come home to me to eat lunch.
Some days.
Not really.
I feel like he does.
I don't really recall him coming home to eat lunch with me. That's kind of cute. I like it. Maybe I should require him.
Does Bob Sage, does he live on property also?
He lives right across the street.
Okay.
So he just drives his little gator across the street. So he's like, but I got to call and tell her that I'm going to be late for lunch because she always has it ready for me because she knows I'm like, how cute is that?
That's really sweet.
So, but we went over to his sweet corn patch. They're not selling it. This is their private that they're just having for them. It's not perfect sweet corn, but man, it was darn good.
I mean, we just had it.
And he's like, do you want it for that salad you make? Because he's heard me talk about it before. And I said, I do. So I went and I picked sweet corn on October 29th. It was delicious. This is their 15th planting, the last planting. They do 15 plantings. This is the last one. So it was such a treat.
Can we just discuss that on October 29th, it was 75 degrees today?
It's gorgeous.
This weather is gorgeous. I mean,
so nice.
We are going to be in for a rude awakening.
I think November is going to be rainy. And
I think we're going to be in for such a rude awakening.
Yeah, we'll see.
This has been so wonderful.
So, but I want to talk about something because every time I go to the hair salon, I learn something.
Okay.
So last week or last month or whatever to the last time I went, I don't remember what I learned. But this week I heard another customer talking to her hairdresser because this is what people do at hair salons.
It is like a therapy session.
But guarantee you that my hair lady, like we talk about chickens and we talk about our kids in college and everybody else is probably bored about what I talk about. But this lady was telling me there's apparently a term and it's called low-key cheating.
Okay.
You low-key cheat on your spouse.
So talk to me. What does it entail?
So it's nothing serious. You just like low-key cheat on your husband.
How? How do you low-key?
Because you're not going to be committed. You're just like having
So if
fun.
you sleep with another person.
It's okay because it's low-key.
No.
This is the most horrible thing I've ever heard in my life.
I'm like, does Christian think this is okay?
No, come on.
I'm just making sure.
So I'm listening and I'm like, certainly this lady doesn't know anybody who does this. She claims that her grandma low-key cheated on her grandpa their entire relationship.
So we were actually, it's very funny that you say
So I have to look over. At this point, I have to see, how old is this lady? Like I'm looking, she was kind of young. So her grandma must be in her 70s. I mean, my grandma's in her 90s. What in the world?
So we were just talking about this at the market today, some of the ladies and I. There's a little bug. Do you know how hard and how much time and how much effort it would take to cheat?
I can't imagine.
Who has time for this?
But this is low key. It's supposed to be
doesn't
fun.
matter. You're still going to
It
do it.
doesn't take any thoughts. You just do it.
This seems so exhausting to me. It's the thought of cheating. I honestly, like, I don't have time for this one.
He didn't have time for you today.
Wait, I'm mad at him. We're almost out of time, but I have to tell you guys, 24 years ago, yesterday, we went on our first date. We went to a Halloween party.
That's cute. And Danna remembered. It wasn't Tom.
I remembered. So we're laying in bed last night. Babe, did you forget something today?
Oh, how do you expect him to remember that?
He
Bill
should
doesn't even
remember.
remember our first date.
I'm mad at him. We're fighting.
He doesn't care.
He does not
He actually
care.
told her to step away from the grill. But in his defense, it was because she was blocking the light and we were trying to cook this extremely tough cut of meat.
My back is killing and I don't know why.
Maybe you have a bladder infection.
No, I don't think I do. I never asked my mom about that.
So we have to talk about this really fast, but I love ears. So we're at the market and an unnamed employee, multiple of them now have had me look in their ear canals with my doctor mom.
So weird.
Otoscope. So she makes me go to the house and get it. I kind of forgot. And then she was serious business about it. Her ear hurt. So I looked in like pretty much everybody's ears at this point. Someone wanted me to look in their ears. I'm like, I really don't have time. So I look in her ear because she says she can't hear. Let me tell you, the earwax
So
that was in this ear.
This was yesterday and she still has not gone to the doctor.
She's going tomorrow.
I know, but I
That's
would be
as
like,
soon as she could get in. Anyways, so I'm like, oh, I can't help you. You've got to go to the doctor. Your ear canal is literally smaller than anything that could fit in there. They're going to have to do some irrigation. But I wanted to clean those ears so bad.
well, why didn't you? Because it was so small.
Because it was so small and I didn't want to press it back in. And anyways, then we walk in and another unnamed employer, kind of Danna named her, told me that she thinks she has a bladder infection.
It's my mom, in case anyone's wondering.
So I'm like,
I named her.
Man, you really should at your age be taking kidney pills. So everyone's laughing. I'm like passing out of this unmedical related
Now, to be
information.
clear, my mom only has one kidney.
Right.
So, like,
but she thought she had a bladder infection, not a kidney infection. That'd be worse.
then it would be
But
worse.
everybody should take kidney pills. I remember my grandma saying taking cranberry pills for your bladder and your kidney health are really good. And she stopped taking them.
And
now
she has
look what
an infection.
happened.
Do we really think that this is what happened?
We don't really think she has an infection, but
She's probably fine.
anyways, friends, this was
Meanwhile-
a weird, random podcast, but
We'll find out tomorrow. She has a
until
kidney
next time,
infection.
friends, we're mismatched. It's a bladder infection.
Whatever. Goodbye.